Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I am back with another story time. You see the grin on my face because I can see by the title. Today I'm sharing some of my weirdest encounters that I have had when I've met other beauty gurus, beauty creators, beauty influencers, whatever you want to call it, other people who work in the beauty space on social media. So if you guys want to hear about it, let's just go. Okay, so I feel like I should start with this one because it's the main reason why I no longer go up to people and try to introduce myself to them or tell them I follow them here or there. So this happened, actually, wow, it's been a couple years since this happened, probably like 2. But you guys know all these events happen in the city and I live in Long Island, so I usually have to wake up very early, take very long trains, and I get there very early. These trains are either gonna get you there extremely early or extremely late. So I'm there early. There are only like a couple other people there, so I scope out the room. I figure I'm gonna sit here, in my little secluded area, so I don't have to talk to anybody. And then I'm just sitting there on my phone. I feel like a lot of people think when they go to an event, it's gonna be like, the parties you see in high schools, in the movies, or it's just like, hey, like let's make friends, whatever. That's not what's going to happen. You're either just not gonna talk to anybody, you're gonna talk to the people you already know, or the brand is gonna like force people to talk to each other. That's usually how these things go. So I'm sitting there on my phone and I hear someone go, "Are you too much mouth?" And I look over and it's this influencer that I know from Instagram. She's fairly big on Instagram. Let's call her Bonnie. So Bonnie, picks up her stuff and she sits next to me. And here's the thing with these events, to put it nicely, there aren't that many people who look like me at these type of events. They sprinkle in like a good 5. And because of that, you usually want to stick together or you start gravitating towards each other, but they make that very hard because, they just be like weird and rude and liars, but we'll get into that. So Bonnie comes over and she sits next to me and we're talking, and I want to say like a good 20 minutes later, another influencer walks in and she sits on the other side of the room. Let's call her Sierra. So I look at Bonnie and I'm like, "Oh, is that Sierra from YouTube?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, that's my homegirl, whatever, love her, blah, 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 blah." So I'm like, "Oh, let me go introduce myself because, I like watching her on YouTube. I'm gonna keep emphasizing on YouTube for a reason. So let me go say hi to her." So I go over to her and I'm like, "Hey, are you Sierra, from YouTube?" I say her name. I don't know, I feel like there's no other way to like start a conversation out like this. It sounds weird, but I don't know. And she goes, "Oh, hi," because I'm standing, she's sitting down. So she's like, "Oh, hi." Yeah, oh no, she goes, "Oh yeah, hi." I feel like I should have taken that as my hint to like just say hi back and then go walk back over to my seat, right? But for some reason, maybe because it's early in the morning, I'm trying to have a conversation with Sierra. And she does this thing that a lot of people do at events. It's so weird. It's common, so it doesn't surprise me when it happens anymore. But it's like, in reality, it's a very weird thing to do. She goes, "Oh, what's your Instagram?" And I kid you not, people will be like, "What's your Instagram? What's your Instagram?" Straight up put a phone in my face saying, "What's your Instagram?" They haven't even asked like what your name is. Or they just know you by like your social media name, don't know what your real name is. They don't really care what your real name is. It's just, okay, so put your Instagram into my Instagram. I'm gonna follow you and then you're gonna follow me back. That's pretty much the point of this, right? So she's like, "What's your Instagram?" So I pull up my Instagram page. And I'm not even sure like how you would know this with the way that Instagram was formatted at the time. But she looks at my Instagram and she goes, "You don't even follow me." And I'm like, I mean, I did say, "Aren't you Sierra from YouTube? I watch your YouTube videos. I follow you on YouTube. I didn't know I was supposed to follow you on every single platform that you have. But okay, since that's a problem, I'll go ahead and follow you right now," right? So she's looking at my Instagram page, and I want to say at the time I had like, I don't know, 9,000 followers on Instagram. So she's like, "Oh, so like, what are you in this for? Like, like, what do you want out of the industry? What are you trying to do?" And I never really know what to answer when anyone asks me this question, because I feel like my answer is always the same. Like, I don't know. I'm just going with the flow and like seeing what might open up from doing this, like wherever this industry takes me. That's literally my answer whenever anyone asks this question. So that's what I said to her, right? She goes, "Oh, well, maybe if you keep at it, like you'll be able to do this as a full-time job one day." And I was like, I was doing it as a full-time job when she said that. Like, I've been doing it as a full-time job for like 4 years now. So she says that, I'm looking at her like, okay, thanks for the advice on, you know, where I'm going in the industry. Because Sierra, she also has a, you know, fairly large following on Instagram. So I don't know if like that's why she felt like I needed the help in where I was going in the industry. I don't know, child. But anyway, so she said that and I'm like, okay. So you know how Instagram has you can add links to your bio if you have a website, if you have anything else that you want people to know that it's there, that they can click on it and they can go there. So of course in my Instagram bio, sorry about that. So in my Instagram bio, I have my YouTube link and she clicks on it like from like all of this is happening through my own phone. And I'm looking back at it like, what were you doing? Like, why were you even going through anyway, she clicks the link in my bio that takes you to my YouTube page. And I want to say at the time I had like 120,000 subscribers. I know I had over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So she sees that and she's like, girl, like what, why did you have me thinking that you were like some no one in the industry? You're doing just fine. And I'm looking at her like while she's saying this and I'm like, I never said that. I literally never said anything that would lead you to believe that I was a nobody in the industry who had no idea what she was doing. That was the conclusion that you came to on your own when you looked at my Instagram following and saw that I only had like 9,000 followers. But I didn't say that because like the whole conversation is just weird and I just really wanted to wrap up at this point. So I'm like, oh, yeah, So, you know, she's like, oh yeah, you know, you're doing just fine. You good. Look at the views that you get. You got this views, you got this, whatever. And you could just feel the energy shift after that. Like you could clearly tell before she was not checking for me when she just saw that like little 9,000 follower on Instagram. But after the YouTube thing, like you could feel the energy shift, and my energy shifted after that because like now it's just kind of like, all right, I see what it is and I'm not here for it type of thing. But like I said, you know, the whole like stick together type thing, she picks up her stuff and she comes and she sits over by Bonnie and I for the rest of the event. And even then, because again, like if you wanted to rank by follower count, Bonnie had the most followers and then Sierra and then me. And you could still tell she was giving her energy to Bonnie and then like would kind of include me in the conversation. So I'm really just waiting for this to wrap up because by the end of the event, I'm kind of over Bonnie and Sierra. Like when you meet people in real life, you're just kind of like, oh, so this is how you really are. Yeah? Okay. So the event ends and I go home. And I be forgetting that I even met these people at these events because really it's like I'm just talking to you at the event so I have someone to talk to. But a couple of weeks later, I get an Instagram DM from Sierra and she's like, hey, you know, I had this great idea. I was thinking like, why don't we collab on a YouTube video where I do your makeup in the video and you're like, blah, 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 blah. And to this day, like it's still sitting there and it probably says like unseen, unopened. Because you know how on Instagram, you can preview what it says from the outside of your phone? You guys know what I mean? Like when the notification comes in, like you can read the message through the notification so that you don't have to actually open it. I read it through there and then I was just like, really? That's what we doing? Mind you, remember I said that her following was big on Instagram. But you notice she didn't ask for an Instagram collab. She asked, let's do a YouTube collaboration. And it's sitting exactly where it is because I'm gonna leave you exactly where I found you. Like, and that's what irritates me about this industry. People really be looking at you like you're dumb. Like, really? Like, you really think I don't? Okay, anyway. So to this day, that message is still unopened. I've seen her, you know, like once or twice since that first encounter. You know, it's just like a hi and bye type of thing. Like I'm good on it. You know, just, again, I'm gonna leave you where I found you. So the next weird, and actually no, let me tell you about a girl that I met at the same event that I met Sierra, because I've met this girl multiple times now and we have the same exact conversation every single time that I meet her. So the very first time that I met her, let's call her Rebecca. The very first time that I met Rebecca was at the same event that I met Sierra and Bonnie. And she came over and she did the, oh, do we follow each other on Instagram? We should follow each other on Instagram. And you know, I feel like people know that they're putting you on the spot when they do that, and that it's going to be a very awkward situation if you say no. So that's why they do it at these type of things. Because like, who's going to, actually, I know some people who probably would still say no in real life. But in person, like, who's going to be like, no, I don't want to follow you. So she said that, and I was like, okay, sure, whatever. I follow her back on Instagram. And then I meet her the second time, and she's like, hey, do we follow each other on Instagram? We should follow each other. And I'm like, yeah, we do. I met you, you know, like at this event. We follow each other. She was like, oh, you know, I just forget. It's so hard to keep up with all the people that you meet in this industry. And I'm like, actually, it's really not. It's really not hard to keep up with the people that you meet in the industry, especially here in New York, because the pool of people that they have to invite is much smaller than, say, like LA or anything like that. So you literally are meeting the same exact people over and over and over again. So it's really not hard to keep up. But when you're only meeting people so you can get them to follow you, then yeah, it might be hard to keep up, because you're not meeting them to meet a face and to remember a person. You're meeting them so you can add to your follower count. So that was the second time that I met her. Then I met her the third time, and here she comes again. Do we follow each other on Instagram? And I'm looking at her like, so I was like, I don't know, do we follow each other on Instagram? So, you know, pull out the phones, whatever, because like, if you want to play stupid games, you're gonna get stupid answers. So I was like, okay, sure, like let's go through this. Oh yeah, I do follow you. Okay, see you around. And she goes about her business. And then the fourth time that I meet Rebecca, leading into the next one that I met, the fourth time I meet Rebecca, she comes over and she's like, do we? Yes, I follow you on Instagram already. I do. Oh, we do. Yeah, I feel like I saw your pictures the other day, and I was like, yes. And she went about her business, went about her way. I'm sure if I meet her for a fifth time, we'll have that conversation again. But it's just like weird. And the thing is, she has a following on Instagram. She has like well over 200,000, maybe even close to 300,000 followers on Instagram. And my thing is like, I feel like at that point, shouldn't your content, I get it. If you do this for a job, you're always gonna want more followers. But I feel like at some point, shouldn't your content be what's getting you those new followers? Like, I feel like this is very, you know, like beginner, I'm just getting into the industry, like I don't know any better type of thing, to do the whole like, oh, sub for sub, follow for follow type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, someone who just started their account was doing that. Because I feel like at that point, you don't like know any better. So you're just kind of like, okay, well, how else am I supposed to get myself out there? But if you have like close to 300,000 followers, I feel like, shouldn't you putting content out be what's getting you new followers? Or don't you have any other creative ideas of getting more followers than just, you know, having this conversation with people that you meet over and over and over again? But anyway, moving on to the next weird encounter. I actually met this girl at the same place that I saw Rebecca for the fourth time. We're gonna call her Jennifer. So I met Jennifer this day, right? And I was actually there with an influencer that I'm friends with in real life, and I was sitting with her and a couple other people at a table, and then Jennifer came over because I guess she knew them. And, you know, we kind of just chilled for the rest of the day, because like I said, once you find your tribe at these events, you stick with them for the rest of the event. So, you know, we did the whole like, oh, you know, I'll follow you on Instagram, you follow me back, that type of stuff. She was cool to hang out with that day, but then I went home and I kind of forgot that I had met her, because it was like, I don't go to these events thinking I'm gonna meet my maid of honor at these events. And I would hope other people don't think that they're going to these events and they're gonna become the best of friends with these people. They're gonna be the next Desi and Katie, come up with their own friendcation palette. Like, that's not what's happening at these events. Okay, so I met her, she was cool, but then I went home and I went on about my business. So I want to say like 2-3 months later, I'm on Instagram, I'm scrolling on my brother's Instagram page, and I see that Jennifer likes his picture. And then I keep looking and I see that Jennifer liked a couple of his other pictures, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. You know, like, how do they know each other? So I go to my brother and I'm like, hey, how do you know Jennifer? And he's like, I don't. Like, she followed me, so I followed back, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, now I'm trying to figure out, so how does Jennifer know you to follow you? And you know how Instagram, if you go on someone's page, it'll tell you what followers you follow that also follow that person. So I click on that and I see, you know, of course I see other influencers. That makes sense, of course, that they follow her as well. But then I keep scrolling and I see, you know, like former coworkers that I worked with follow her. And mind you, before this whole beauty industry thing, none of the other, you know, like 9-to-5 or normal jobs that I've had in the past have anything to do with the beauty industry. Like, I wasn't working at a Sephora or an Ulta beforehand, like nothing to do with the industry. But I see that she has like those mutuals as well. And I'm like, okay, I keep scrolling. I see she's got like people that I went to elementary school with are following her, and I'm like, I didn't even go to elementary school in New York. Like, I went down in a completely different state. So now I'm just like, how do these people know each other? So I messaged one of the coworkers and I'm like, hey, how do you know Jennifer? Like, I'm just curious. And she's like, I don't. She followed me one day, so I followed back. And the funny thing is, the coworker was like, actually, now that you point that out, I just noticed that she unfollowed. Let me go ahead and hit her with that unfollow real quick. Cause like, girl, I don't even know you. Like, I was just following back to be nice, and you don't have the nerve to do that whole follow to unfollow thing. So I'm like, all right, this is getting weird. It's getting weird. Like, how does she even know these people to be following them? So then I keep scrolling and I keep scrolling. And the one that just got me is I see my nephew is following her. And my nephew's not in America. Okay, if you guys did not know, I have a sister who passed away and she left 2 sons who are both in Haiti. They're both in Haiti. When I say like English is very minimal, like very minimal. So I can only assume that it's the same thing as the coworker, as the elementary mutuals, as my brother, as to where she followed my nephew and my nephew followed back. And I'm just like, why? Like, that's weird. That is weird. And I'm assuming it's like the whole Rebecca thing, where it was like, she followed these people to get them to follow her back. At least Rebecca like stays following you. That's probably why she can't remember who you are, because she follows like 1,500 people on Instagram. But at least she stays following you. But like, you met me and got the follow back. You know, you got the follow back. But then you went through the list of people that I follow and followed them to get them to follow you back, and then you unfollowed them. Like, is it ever that serious? Is it? Is it ever that serious to have followers that we need to go through all of this? That just completely just turned me off. Like, this, it's weird. It's weird for what? I'd like the going through following them, and not just following them, but liking their pictures so that they would think that this was some type of like mutual, like, oh, I'm interested in your content. Oh, so if she's interested in my content, I'm gonna go be interested in her content. Like, it's just, it's weird. And it's never that deep for any of this. So, you know, I just like had to hit her with that soft block thing. If you guys don't know what soft blocking is, if you follow someone that you don't want to follow anymore on Instagram, but you don't want to go through like just unfollowing them and leaving them following you, if you block them and then unblock them, it'll make you unfollow them, and 2, it'll make them unfollow you without them even knowing. So I just had to go ahead and do that because it's weird. I'm going to tell one other story, and I could probably do a whole video off my experience with this person, but I'm going to tell this little snippet of it and you'll still fully understand just how weird. Anyway, so we're gonna call her Cookie. And this one day, Cookie messaged me and she said, hey, I'd like to make a wig for you. Okay, so she wanted to make a wig for me, but what she wanted to do was practice recreating another wig that she had seen other people make. You know, like when you see a makeup look and you're like, oh, I like the makeup look, I want to recreate it. Same thing with the wigs. She saw the wigs and she was like, oh, I'd like to try, you know, doing my own type of spin on this coloring and this cut and stuff like that, but I need to find someone to make it for, so I'm not just, you know, wasting time and hair, right? So she showed me a whole bunch of pictures. She was like, oh, pick whichever one you want and I'll make it for you. And I picked one and then I left it at that, right? And then I never heard anything from Cookie again about that wig. And because of like my past experiences with Cookie, I'd let it go. I didn't say anything. I didn't say like, oh, you're still gonna make that wig? Oh, what happened to this wig? Whatever. I didn't say anything like that. I just let it go. So late 2019, I was interested in getting a wig for 2020. So that's why I'm starting the process of it now in November, because I know that's going to take time. So I messaged her and I'm like, hey, is it possible that you could make me a wig? And I didn't mention, the other one or anything like that. She was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to make you a wig. Like, what are you looking for? What do you need? And again, because of like past experiences, I told Cookie, I am going to purchase the hair from the hair vendor that I want and have it shipped to you, and then you make the wig. And she's like, oh, no problem, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So on November 21st, I ordered the closure and the bundles. They're coming from 2 different places, but both companies were still able to get them to Cookie's house in like a week. And I was worried because, it's around Black Friday time, stuff like that. But now, I ordered it November 21st. They were both to her by like November 28th. And, I messaged her to say like the tracking said that, it's been delivered, just to make sure that it has, because like it's expensive hair. And she was like, yeah, I got it. And then I left it alone again. Like, I'm not that person who wants like nitpick or be like, so what's the update on my wig? Where are you at with the wig? Is it almost gonna be shipped out? Stuff like that. Like, I'm not gonna do that. So I just left it alone after that, right? So time is going on, and December 9th, I just checked. December 9th, she messages me and she says, oh, actually, let me read to you what it says, because y'all know I just started wearing wigs like last year. So I don't really know like all of the terminology and all of that stuff doesn't really make sense to me. But, anyway, she said, I had started and almost finished the basic construction of the wig, and my sewing machine stopped working. So I'm taking it to Joann's Fabric today to see if they can fix it for me. I'll keep you updated, but it's almost done. I just need my machine to get the last weft on. I want you guys to remember this, okay? So I say, okay, cool, no problems, just keep me updated, let me know how it goes. So she messaged me again December 14th. So she messaged me the 9th first, and then December 14th she messaged me and she says, hey, I'm so sorry, like they're not gonna be able to fix my sewing machine, and I can't purchase a new one, so I'm gonna deconstruct the wig and then send it to you, and then you can have someone else make the wig for you. I mean, yeah, it sucks to hear that, but it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, what am I supposed to say to her other than, okay, like just send me the hair, right? And I'm not sure why I didn't just have Bemi do it to begin with, because you guys have seen like she makes like all of the customized wigs that you guys have seen. Maybe she was busy or something like that, but I hit her up because now, like we're getting closer to when I wanted the wig, right? I hit her up like, hey, like how quickly can you do this? And she's like, oh, no problem, just send it over to me. So she told me that December 14th. I messaged her December 15th that morning to tell her to ship it over to Bemi directly so that she can make the wig, and then Bemi will just ship it over to me. Now keep in mind, I made it known like from the get-go. Let me know, however, did I say get-go or get-go? Anyway, I let it be known, like, let me know how much the shipping is and I'll pay you for however much you had to ship it to Bemi, right? And that was December 15th. And then I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything after that. I think like she replied and she's like, oh yeah, cool, I'll ship it out to her. But then like the rest of day 15 came and went, day 16, day 17, day 18, and day 17. I was like, hey, like I'm just asking for an update. If you have like a tracking number or something that I can give to Bemi, no answer. And so then like day 19 came and I messaged her and I was like, hey, do you have like a tracking number? Were you able to get the package out? Were you able to ship out the hair? Because like at this point you already said you had deconstructed the wigs. Like what else is there to do than to just put this package in the mail and ship it off, right? So I finally get an answer on December 19th saying, oh, hey, I just dropped it off at the post office. She should receive the package on Friday, December 27th, because this is Christmas time. So you guys know they're closed for the holidays, and they've got like all this, you have to drop it off at a certain point if you want things to arrive before Christmas and stuff like that. So it says it's not going to arrive to Bemi's house until the 27th. So she's got until the 27th to the 1st to finish this wig and then send it over to me. Love that, right? So I mean, like at that point I can just be happy that it's shipped out, and I say, thank you again, let me know how much it costs for shipping. And that was the last time that I spoke to her. She never answered me after I said let me know how much the shipping was. That was the last time we spoke. So at least I know it's not in her hands anymore. So I really only have to deal with Bemi moving forward. So Bemi finally gets the package and I'm excited. And I'm asking her because you guys know, like, I don't know all of this terminal. Like, I know, like, the weft. And Bemi's like, I hope because of how it's cut using a sewing machine, like, it's not going to be a problem, you know, sewing the wig together. So when she got the hair, I was like, hey, you know, like, did you get a chance to look at it? Is it going to be a problem? Like, was it cut in a type of way that's going to give you an issue making the wig? This is why this is a problem. You saw, I literally let everything else in this story go. This is what pissed me off. I'm asking all these questions and Bemi's like, girl, all of this hair is packaged up just like it was when it left the seller, sealed, never been opened before. Do you catch on to what's going on here? Like, she took a picture of it too, because I'm like, wait, what? She took a picture of it, sent it to me. All of the hair was sealed in the original packaging, literally never opened before. You want me to go back and read the message where it says, like, I only have like one weft left to put on. I'm gonna deconstruct the wig. Like, that's why I don't. Why lie? Not even why lie. Why go through the process of telling me that you do the wig? Why go through the process of having me ship it to you? Why go through, like, if anything, you lost money because you never answered me when I said how much did it cost you to ship it out to her. Why go through all of this and you never even opened any of the packages that the hair came? Like, when I tell you the bundles were still wrapped up in the original wrapping, like, never touched this hair. Never did anything. And then it's the lying part that gets to me. Like, I don't understand how any of this makes sense. What was the point? What was the point of that? How does that make, like, what does it do for you? Like, I'm thinking about it now and I need an answer of how that makes sense to anybody. So that was the very first time any of that hair had been opened, had been wefted anywhere, sewn anywhere, whether by machine or by hand. It was by Bemi. That was the first time any of it had been touched. And it was like, so it was just sitting around at your house, like, doing, like, I don't understand. How does that make sense? How? But yeah, that's what it was. She got the hair the 27th, and I think she got the wig to me by like the 29th or 30th of December. So again, if you guys are ever looking for someone to make a wig, shout out to Bemi. Go look to her. But like I said, that was the last time that I had spoken to her, when I said, you know, let me know what the shipping is, and she never answered me. From time to time, like, she'll like my pictures on Instagram, and it's so weird to me how people in this industry will move weird and it doesn't bother them, like, at all. Like, they're not fazed by it at all. Someone could straight up, you know, somehow get $50 out of your bank account, know that you know they took the $50 out of your account, and then see you a week later and be like, hey, how are the kids? I saw you went on vacation. How was, and they, like, nothing, like, the way that they can speak to you so normally as if nothing happened is weird to me. And that's why I'm not cut out. I'm not cut out for this industry friendship thing, because I deadass be looking at people like, wow, are you so weird? I don't know how many times I said weird in this video, but that's the best way I can describe it. I just be looking at people like, why are you so weird? Why? And sometimes you just gotta sit there and think to yourself, like, am I the one who's losing it here? Like, how is this normal behavior to you? But it is. It's normal behavior to these people to act like this. And I'm just like, I'm not cut out for it. I'm not. I can't do it. I gotta wrap up this video. So that is it for my weird encounters. I hope you guys liked hearing it. Make sure to thumbs up. So stupid. Make sure to thumbs up.